Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Before we jump into details, anytime I have an alarm watch, I like to let it sound off before I do. Naturally, at full power reserve, the alarm rings far, far longer, approximately 20 seconds. But with that said, now you have a sample of the volume and tone of the alarm. Today we're discussing the Franck Muller Transamerica Big Ben in stainless steel. You can see and you can purchase this watch on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full commercial listing for this watch with accessories included in the sale, high resolution images, and of course complete pricing information for this Franck Muller GMT alarm. Now, the interesting thing about the Transamerica Big Ben is it's an exception to the rule with Franck Muller that you either pay big and get a return of commensurate complexity in the Grand Premier, World Premier, or Eternitas class, or you get something a little bit more basic, ironically bearing the label Master of Complications on the caseback. What you have here is a watch that is by no means cheap, and its original retail was deep into 5 figures. However, unlike the Eternitas, this one is both accessible and serviceable in the real world. And unlike some of Franck Muller's more basic Casablanca, Cintre, Curvex, and tonneau cases, this one does pack real horological chops as a complication. Now, it's 40 millimeters across the broad of the case from 9 to 3, and you can see the charming radially laid 9 and 3 characterize an exuberant dial. The watch is fairly slim for its complexity, 14 millimeters, but with a broadly sloping domed bezel and domed sapphire. This is an easy watch to slip underneath a dress cuff, even at 14 millimeters. It wears like a watch of approximately 11 or 12 millimeters in thickness. Now, it features a beautifully cambered case. In terms of ergonomics, it arcs across the wrist, so its lug-to-lug measurement of 52.5 millimeters places far, far less. As you can see, it really does drape itself around my 16 centimeter wrist. For that reason, I think this watch could be worn on a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters with perfect proportion and security. It would seat nicely. Now, it is a very substantial watch. It has a lot of heft. This because of the broad tonneau style case, a solid steel caseback, and a substantial multi-link steel bracelet. Everything here is of high polish, and it truly jumps from the wrist. It needs no two-tone, no precious metal to accentuate its presence. Now, it has a double deployant clasp, and you'll note when closed, like the Rolex Crown clasp, it's exceptionally discreet with only the logo of Franck Muller denoting the partition point, and you'll note it's sort of a hybrid of the Rolex President and the Jubilee, featuring alternating small and large links. It has the character, the substance in the hand of something like the Rolex President, but with the souplesse and the silken feel on the skin of the Jubilee, a really interesting hybrid bracelet. Now, it's paired with a very sensuous case. You can see that compound curves are here in abundance, a case that seems to bend in every direction at the same time. It seems almost like a piece of fluid mass rather than a solid chunk of metal, and it has incredible grace, due in no small part to that wonderful domed bezel. It really does give the watch tremendous character, almost like a modern-day oversized Rolex bubble back. A combination of a bubble case and a bubble-like bezel. Now, the watch has an incredibly fun-loving and exuberant dial. This is a dial that is gloriously playful. It boasts color, immense lume, those broadsword hands at center, all of the numerals. It glows like a torch at night. You'll note the roulette-style GMT window. That's a 24-hour wheel for the second time zone, itself shrouded in a red window frame. Everything about this watch colorful with different textures, those highly stylized Art Deco style roaring 20s Arabic numerals. This is a handsome watch. Green, blue, red, and silver with some black accents. This looks like no other Franck Muller, and Franck Muller watches have a reputation for looking different. This one stands out even amongst that cadre. Very impressive. Now, the watch features what's known as a Franck Muller caliber 7850. Practically speaking, you're looking at a Girard-Perregaux 2291, itself based on the old A. Schild 5008. So it's a tough movement. It's a real tractor caliber. It was also featured on the Girard-Perregaux Traveler GMT alarms, so it's tried and true, long-tested, very reliable, automatic winding. It has approximately a 45 to 46 hour power reserve. It does feature 31 joules, so it's quite refined, and it does feature hacking seconds, so pull the crown, stop the balance, synchronized to an accurate reference time. It has a quick set function that alternately cycles the date and the second time zone. It's a very impressive piece of horology from far off the beaten path. Franck Muller is anything but common, but a model like this that splits the difference between his mass-produced models and his nearly unobtainable complications is truly a fascinating and useful timepiece. While it has, again, that sort of flamboyant and exuberant persona about it, the combination of an alarm and a second time zone with a beautifully luminescent dial really make this the ultimate traveler's watch, visible at any hour of the day and permitting a quick reference to remote time zones, while always keeping the alarm in reserve to remind you of an appointment or a phone call when necessary. You can see and you can purchase this Franck Muller on our website.